Hey Believers, this is SuperZombGBBQ, and we are at the beginning of an incredibly tough road to glory. I mean, this potentially could be the hardest RTG, if not the hardest event ever in WWE SuperCard, and I'll show you the reason why. We're going to go through all the cards. I'm actually on Baron Corbin at the moment, so I'm going to get myself up to Elite as soon as possible. We started on Legendary instead of Epic this time, but they still kept the points the same. Let's have a look here. You can see Kofi Kingston, it's always Finn, of course, because it's always Finn. Jey Uso, Emma. Then we have Baron Corbin, which we're going to finish off on this video. You got Austin Aries, Xavier Woods, The Miz, and then you got Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy on the same points total, which tells me, based on what I've been playing, that this is going to be almost impossible for most people to finish this event. And in fairness, it now makes sense why they made Matt go first. But before we get into the details of why it's happened, what's happening, and how hard this really is going to be, if you want to leave a like, you know what, we'll go for a clothesline from hell on the like button. If you can do that as hard as possible, that'd be amazing. Just go smash it. But we're going to get into what the difficulty is. We've got a couple of new pros to go through, the extra points you're going to have to go through, and just running through the differences, as well as a brand new pro I pulled off the board, which we're going to go through. As you see, that Money in the Bank Undertaker, one of my favourite cards in the game, and end of. It's just such a nice card. One of the pros I mentioned just now being Ken Shamrock, who was a card from last week's Ring Domination. You have to mind me, guys, if this stops and starts this upload, I've got a horrendous cold at the moment. My voice is improving, but yeah, I'm still sneezing everywhere. So that happens, I apologise. But there we go, Shinsuke Nakamura, another new pro I got recently, but you probably have known that if you watch recent videos. Let's keep going. So, why is it harder? Compared to Shawn Michaels, that was really short, Brock Lesnar's RTG felt like a really long slog. Now, this Road to Glory, where you're trying to get 2 event cards, and you could justify that that's the reason it's much harder, and going to be much longer, and it's for the same amount of time, by the way, so they've not extended the event in any way, shape or form. For 230 points, which is a WrestleMania card, longer than a normal standard Road to Glory. So this is going to be really difficult for most people. Maybe Matt isn't the hardest one. Maybe it's going to get even harder when you go on to Jeff Hardy. We'll have to find out when it happens, but I can see a lot of people having difficulty, and in fairness, the end of the Brock RTG I did last time, if you haven't seen that Road to Glory Roulette, seriously go check it out, because you'll see just how difficult it was not easy. Compared to most tiers, that was really difficult. I mean, I was coming against pro females all the time, and that was just like the end of the RTG, so the last 40 or 30 points. Just imagine if you got a whole card, Jeff Hardy, 270 points of just that pure hell. They're definitely making it harder to get Jeff than it is to get Matt, especially given the fact that they both tag as well. If you haven't got yourself the Undertaker from Money in the Bank, you need to get yourself Jeff Hardy. So why the extra points? Now, you could say that, you know, this is a difficulty increase we've wanted in SuperCard. I'm just going to put it down to the fact that there's 2 event cards. There's the Matt and Jeff Hardy. They want to make it, you know, a challenge to be able to get. Now, anyone who's playing, you know, RTG normally and has got themselves a WrestleMania Plus deck should probably be able to get themselves Matt and Jeff, unless the difficulty's really ramped up. Pretty easy anyway, and it shouldn't be too much of a difficulty. But there are going to be some people out there who are going to struggle to get it, and I have got a video coming out tomorrow that's going to give you a couple of hints and tips of ways that you can make RTG a little bit easier. And there's a couple of methods which haven't really been spoken about before by most people on YouTube or Twitch, but are definite ways that you can potentially help yourself. So I'm going to bring that out tomorrow when most people are hitting the Matt and Jeff Hardy cards. Maybe the Miz, maybe they're hitting their wall if they're Elite going to Ultimate. So you should definitely pay attention to those when they come out. But if you are going to get yourself a pro from any of the cards that are in this week's Road to Glory, please let me know in the comments section below. And also let me know who you are aiming for, and if they're a pro for you, in the comments as well. not forgetting to subscribe whilst you're there. I'm still training Jeff Hardy up, actually. I need to get another toughness game on Jeff, and then I believe he's done training-wise. I just need to obviously now get the pro versions and train those up. That's going to be a great slog. It wasn't a toughest match, which kind of sucks, but what can you do? What can you do? In fact, I'll check and see if he is actually done. He might be finished already. Either way, Matt and Jeff Hardy event cards are going to be awesome. They're going to be so great when they're done. They're going to be some of the best cards in the game. I think they're both actually some of the best cards available. I did get my WrestleMania pull very shortly before starting to record this upload. So let's have a look at that now. Once I get through all of the picks I've got off the board. There we go, there's the last one. And waiting on that work. There we go, cool. But I did manage to get myself a couple of new cards, new pros. With my most recent King of the Ring awards, I got myself a Finn Balor because it's always Finn. But not only that, you've also got yourself Ken Shamrock. And we've got Samoa Joe from the Team RTG. And there is that new pull I got off the board, which is a John Cena, which is it's a pro. Yes, I am very happy about getting that card. Is Jeff Hardy done? Jeff Hardy's actually done, so we can take him out of the deck now. We can put someone else in the deck who can be trained up. Matt Hardy is actually better than Jeff Hardy, believe it or not, which is kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. We use Triple H. There we go. It's not a pro, but if you're leveling up cards, it's definitely worth your time to put them in to your Road to Glory deck whilst you're going through the lower levels. So let's get these cards pro'd. We're going to show you how to token as well. I've had a lot of questions about tokening cards recently. Some actually coming from YouTubers, some Twitch streamers who have started the game recently and they don't want to do it wrong because they get criticised by people. There's no right or wrong way actually to train your cards up. But this Finn Balor, now Finn Balor is a top-end card in WrestleMania tier. He has got a lot of power, he's got a good amount of speed as well. He's not one of the top cards in speed, but he's almost there or thereabouts. And he's got some decent toughness, but he's not got a great deal of charisma. Now, me personally, if I had lower cards and I was going to use Finn Balor, I'd probably put his tokens in charisma, because then he'd be more likely to beat the cards like Brock Lesnar, for example, and Samoa Joe, who are not particularly leveled in toughness or who are not particularly leveled in charisma. They're more speed-based cards or power-based cards and toughness-based cards. I'd probably go for that, but because I'm probably not going to use Finn Balor in my deck, I'm just going to level him up the normal way, which is to do power, toughness, and speed with a little bit extra on the proc. Now, the proc, or the ability as it's called, is really, really useful for this tier, because power, toughness, speed, and then you got the proc at the end, will give you a nice little boost in King of the Rings. So if you have got yourself a Finn Balor, then it's definitely worth that. Now, Ken Shamrock's a bit different, because Ken Shamrock is not one of the best cards in the tier. So I personally would just go for power, toughness, and I'll put a little bit on speed, but I'm actually going to go and put all the rest on proc. Because he's not one of the best cards, you want to really hit his best stats, his power, toughness, and a little bit extra on speed. But what you want to do with someone like Ken Shamrock is you want to be putting a lot on the proc, because if you're using this guy in King of the Rings, he's going to have no chance against the likes of Triple H, Brock Lesnar, Undertaker. In fact, against the likes of Samoa Joe, he's going to have, I mean, just look at this now. Ken Shamrock loses to an untrained Samoa Joe in free stats. So you want to be taking this Ken Shamrock and making as much of him as possible. So let's have a look now. Let's go power, toughness, and speed. Now, you could say that against Samoa Joe, the best thing to do is level Shamrock in charisma. But actually, I'm going to put in all in the proc. And the reason why I'm doing all in the ability is because it just makes a lot more sense. Because you're going to want that card to be able to beat other cards quite easily. Here's Finn Balor, which we've got there, nice pro. But using the ability is definitely worth doing, because if you've only got one or two pros and Ken Shamrock's that, you don't want it to lose games against other WrestleMania pros. So you go for putting on the proc instead, the ability. And if you hear me say proc, that is another word for the ability. Just in case anyone's like, why the hell does he keep saying the word proc? So there is Ken Shamrock, there is Finn Balor. I'm just going to train away some cards into, you know, I'm not going to do that to him. I'm going to actually use this Roman Reigns I've got that's already pre-prepared. There we go. So I'm going to now level him up in his best stats because he's specifically useful for that. And I'm going to use the last 2 on his proc as well. Better ones in the tier, like AJ Styles, for example. So there we go. And you can see he's already better than Roman Reigns, and he's not even been fully trained yet. So he is a very useful card to have. If you've got someone like Brock Lesnar, Triple H, the top cards, you probably want to not be using anything on the proc on those or the ability. You want to be using those to use all the tokens in every single stat. And maybe balance them out a bit more. But again, there's no right or wrong way to train your cards. Just don't silver star them if you need them. That's my only suggestion. So let's just get this Ken Shamrock leveled up as well. He will be a decent card. We're going to use power, toughness. We're going to use the rest when we get them to put it into the proc. And this is going to be a really, really useful card. And I'm going to use this as like training fodder in my Road to Glory deck. So let's just check the Road to Glory deck just quickly to make sure we still got the cards there. Yes, we do. And we can now start training the last card up as we get Baron Corbin done and dusted. Very, very happy with this Road to Glory. I think it's going to be great for the challenge, but I can appreciate there's going to be a lot of people out there who are not going to be happy that this is really difficult, and it's going to be difficult. I love that Rusev. That's actually one of the rarer cards in SuperCard, by the way. It was in another Money in the Bank with John Cena, and everyone loves John Cena, and Becky Lynch, which is a female, and female cards are really hard to come by. So toughness and speed, you know, I'm just going to go for the 2 cards that need the leveling. I love that Finn Balor. I probably should change his image, but I'm going to keep that there because that image is pretty amazing, in fairness. Let's get this last card done. Let's get Baron Corbin out of the way. Let me know what you thought of this in the comment section below. Any tokening tips you've got for other people, let us know in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe while you're there using the little widget that's going to pop up just down here in a second. Don't forget to like this video. Remember to check the description below as well there, guys, by the way, for details to Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Remember to like and follow all those pages. If you want to watch any of my other videos I've recently uploaded, go check them out just over here. Look out for that RTG tips video coming tomorrow. I will see you soon. One last thing before we go, and that is to zombie!